not lazy. Maybe you just look at goals the wrong way. If you watch nearly any other video or read any other plan, they eventually tell you the same things in different ways. They'll start with choosing your goal, something you want to do, with a specific end date, and something that you may be able to break into component parts and start today. They'll tell you to write it down, to look at it every day, say it out loud, keep it alive. They'll tell you to make a plan, put it in a calendar, and only focus on the very next steps. They'll tell you to check your progress, to look at it every week, change the plan if it isn't working, and celebrate your accomplishment when you reach the goal. All of that is pretty straightforward, but that ignores some important things to consider. And that's where the Polymath's Guide to Setting Goals comes in. First, all of that sounds a little rigid and boring, doesn't it? In my video, The Two Minds That Create a Polymath, I talk about the outer polymath, the doer, the achiever, the collector of trophies. This is the person who chases credentials, hustles, and builds visible success. But behind every Renaissance man or woman is something just as vital: the inner polymath, the dreamer, the connector, the quiet fire of curiosity and conscience. The goals of one mind aren't the same as the other, and I think they need to be explored, because this is the part that most self-help misses. Working out is a goal of the outer polymath. Picking up your kids to take them to football, American soccer, is the outer polymath. Learning to paint now, that's a combination of the two. Many goals are those combinations, and it's the parts that feed the inner polymath with wonder, awe, curiosity, thankfulness, reason, compassion, and understanding. Things that transcend, things that are aspirational, may take a lifetime to achieve, maybe more. They usually don't follow rigid timelines. They expand, they fill, they inhabit in their own time. You're not lazy. Maybe you're setting the wrong goals. Maybe you're taking the pleasure out of the experience and creating a roadblock for yourself. Maybe you have the time, but not the willpower to achieve it, or you have the will, but not the current capacity to achieve it. Maybe you haven't reached the nexus where everything connects. Leonardo da Vinci started projects that fueled his passions, that opened him up to thinking and feeling about things that he wouldn't have otherwise. The goal itself might not have been the invention or the artwork. They may have only been the methods to feed those passions, to reach that understanding. That's what most goal setting doesn't take into account. Da Vinci performed human dissections and autopsies, and most would say he did it to study anatomy. While that may have been the goal, it was also the methods in service of bringing his sculptures and paintings to life. Goals can be accumulative and compound. Most goal setters think of these as steps, but they're individual goals themselves. They're scaffolds you create to build your masterpiece. Exercise more is a wish, not a goal. A goal for the outer polymath, the tasks, the day-to-day are measurable. Walk 30 minutes, 4 days a week. The goal for the inner polymath may simply be, how do I understand sinews of humans so that I can represent them in one or more mediums? You have to know what your focus is. That's the real goal. 5 more questions decide whether it survives. The next question is potential. Does this goal build you up or burn you out? A daily walk compounds. You get stronger, sleep better, have more capacity for the next goal. Signing up for a marathon when you can't run to the mailbox breaks you and sets you back 6 months. Potential asks whether the goal makes you more or costs you more than it returns. Capacity is the next question. Not, can you technically do this? Do you honestly have what this takes right now? Time, energy, sleep, focus, physical baseline. Most people fail here silently. They pick a goal that requires a version of themselves they don't have yet. If you're working 2 jobs and sleeping 5 hours, the goal isn't gym at 5 a.m. It's a walk on your lunch break. Be honest before life is honest for you. Da Vinci couldn't sculpt the human face or paint the Mona Lisa until he understood bone structure and how they moved. You wouldn't start painting if you didn't have an easel. Method is our next question. How are you actually going to do this? Gym membership, home workout, walking route, a class, a running club. Each has different friction and different costs. Pick the one you'll actually show up for, not the one that sounds impressive at a dinner party. Choosing a method for the sake of status is a pursuit of power over others. Choosing a method for the sake of consistency is a pursuit of power over oneself. Some methods also drive you. Others you may find boring. Some goals may themselves be boring. Some will require more drive or perseverance than others. That's where things like potential, capacity, and method intersect. The next question is cost. Money, time, sleep, time with the people you love. Every hour spent on the goal is an hour not spent on something else. If you can't name what you're giving up, you haven't set a goal. You've made a wish. Not that anything is wrong with that, only you can answer your heart and know the difference. The last question is externalities. This is the one that nobody asks. Who else does this affect? A Peloton? A rack of weights? 3 months of pre-workout? A fitness watch? A subscription app? That's a lot of stuff acquired in service of moving your body. A walk in the park costs nothing, greets your neighbors, and gives back to the place you live in. Same outcome, different world, one's stewardship, one's consumption. Ask which one you're actually setting. Let's return to Da Vinci to better understand externalities, and tell me, did the ends justify his means? During the Renaissance, the Catholic Church did not issue a blanket ban on human dissection, but it strictly regulated the practice to ensure respect for the human body and belief in the resurrection. Dissections were generally permitted for legal autopsies or medical training at universities, provided the bodies were those of executed criminals or unclaimed individuals from outside the local community. Leonardo da Vinci utilized these legal avenues by collaborating with medical schools and forming relationships with hospital directors, such as those at Santa Maria Nuova in Florence, where he legally dissected a 100-year-old man who had granted him permission before passing. However, because Da Vinci was an artist and engineer rather than a licensed physician, he frequently operated in a legal gray area. To sustain his extensive anatomical studies, he relied on questionable methods, including making backroom deals with executioners, exploiting informal arrangements with hospital staff to claim bodies of the destitute before they could be buried, and conducting his dissections in secret, late-night sessions to avoid public outcry or interference from religious authorities. Notice what we've done. Most people ask one question: can I achieve this goal? We've asked 6. Because a worthy goal isn't just achievable, it builds you, fits who you are today, respects others, and leaves the world better than it found it. Ceteris Paribus is a lie, and nothing is done in a vacuum. We are sculpted by the world, and we sculpt it. Our actions and inactions have costs and externalities that go beyond what we see and understand. A true Renaissance spirit doesn't just create goals and executes them, they discern which goals should be realized and which ones ignored. Which ones feed us, mind, body, and soul, and tries to exercise the meaningless with those of meaning, to ascend and to transcend, to understand that walking that path is the goal, not reaching the pinnacle, to understand our relationship with the goal and with others, to be stewards of the earth we share, and curators of our own minds and stories. Our stories, our plans, require understanding some of the details, the facts on the ground. If you have 3 kids or 3 jobs, you have less bandwidth and capacity to achieve your goals. You're only human. Be humane with yourself and your goals. And know that some days you won't achieve your goals, and that's just part of life. There's always tomorrow, hopefully. And maybe the aspiration, the perseverance, is more important than the goal itself. What it teaches you, what you experience, how you grow from it, maybe that's the true goal and purpose.